Okay, so we are going to be solving quadratic equations by graphing on our calculator. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through finding basically the zeros. So that's what we're looking for. I want you to turn on your calculators, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to the graphing part, and I want to graph x squared minus 2x minus 8. So first thing you might want to do is clear the scratch pad. So if you go up to the top of where your scratch pad is, there's two ways you can do this. You can press the scratch pad and you can scroll down, or you can just go to the letter B, and that will delete everything. Or you can also just press document here and also press B, or you can scroll down. Okay, now this is the calculator portion. So let's go to the graphing area. So I'm going to press the calculator button. That will go f1 of x. Okay, so again, let's go ahead and type in x squared. So x. Now to do x squared, I like to just press the x squared button. If you use that, that's the other button, that's fine. You just have to make sure you're not in the exponent any longer. Okay, so then I'm going to type in minus 2x minus 8, and I'm going to press enter. Okay, so here's my graph. Now let's say I want to get a little bit better view. So it doesn't show me the vertex. Let's go to menu. Let's go to the window. Now I have a couple options. I can zoom in, I can zoom out. What it's currently graphed in is standard. I can graph just quadrant 1, that's not going to help us. And I can also change my window settings. I think for this one, I'm going to zoom out so I can just get a little bit better view. Now, as soon as I press that, it's going to give me this little magnifying glass with a minus sign. So I want to get a little closer to the vertex, so I'm going to move it down here and just click. Again, we're using the mouse pad in the middle, so we can just press that. Now, it still says center, but I don't want to zoom out anymore. So I am going to press escape. Okay, that gets me out of that action. And now what I want to do is I want to figure out these two zeros. Okay, I'm going to show you two different methods. One, if we press menu, you can go to Analyze Graph, and we want to find the zero. Now, notice what happens. You see this in the bottom left-hand corner. It says lower bound. What that means is I have two zeros in this case, two places where it crosses the x-axis. I have this one here. So I want to basically give a range of values where that zero would be. So I'm going to go just to the left of where it crosses, and I'm going to click enter. And now I'm going to drag it. Now notice what happens as soon as I go over where it says, you'll see the word 0 pops up. As soon as that pops up, I don't want to go all the way over, because what ends up happening is it won't find that first 0. So I press enter, and I get -2, 0. So that's my first point. So I'm going to put x equals -2. We don't need the y coordinate because that's going to be 0 anyway. Okay. Now let's do that a second time. So I'm going to go to menu, Analyze Graph, 0. Okay, now I want to find this point right here. So again, I'm going to go to the left of it. Now I don't want to go too far. I want to just get a range of values that will include that point. So I'll go just to the left, click enter. Again, when I drag it, I see the word 0 pop up. So that's how I know. I'm just going to move my point over here so I can see it. That's the point 4, 0. So my two zeros are -2 and 4. Okay, that is one method. And if you look here, right, so here's -2, 0, here's 4, 0, right, that's what we were looking for. The other option is to use the trace. Okay, what I mean by that, if we go to menu and we press the trace button, so number 5, and then number 1, graph trace, you'll get this cursor here. You see with the little circle around it. If I use on my touchpad, if I go left, use the left arrow, it will follow the graph. until I get to the 0. So notice the word 0 pops up when I get to that point. And then if I just go to the right, notice that came up. Notice down here, it gave me 4, 0, which was my other 0. So I kind of like the trace feature. It works out real nicely. You'll see on the next example. So let's find the solutions on our calculator. So here we go. Now, I want to clear out this previous graph. So you can either clear the scratch pad or you can press Tab, use the up arrow, and then I'll do Control, Delete, and it'll delete the whole thing. And then I'll just type in 2x squared plus 4x plus 7. Press Enter. Okay, now in this case, my parabola is all the way up there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try to, let me actually zoom in this time. I'm going to zoom in on where the vertex is. Press Enter, or Escape. Now, this time, where are my zeros? Well, my x-axis is down here. Does the parabola cross? Will it ever cross this x-axis? And the answer is no. So we actually say this has no solution. So if it doesn't cross, we're going to say no solution. Or you can also do the little circle with the slash through it. Okay. Let's try the next one. So I want to take Tab, up arrow, Control Delete. We have 2x squared minus 8x minus 5. Press Enter. All right, I'm going to press Menu. Let me get a little bit better view. So actually I'm going to zoom out this time, and I'm going to try to move it down towards where the vertex is going to be. I'm going to press Menu. Let's do Trace, Graph Trace. I'm going to go, let's get that leftmost point first. Okay, now it says here, so right when I got onto the 0, you see this coordinate here, x equals negative 0.54. So we'll round to the 10th place, so that'll be negative 0.5. Now it has this whole e negative 12. Don't worry about that. Your calculator sometimes has trouble rounding to 0, so that's what that means. And then the other one, right here, 4.5. Notice because I found the zeros in the last problem, it automatically popped up, so that would be 4.5. Again, I think it would be helpful as you're working on these to kind of play around with the zoom buttons and make sure you feel comfortable with finding that on the graph and how to tab, press up, Control Delete. You know, just getting used to typing in one graph after the other. So we'll do x squared. Oops, that's going to be minus 2x minus 1. I'm going to press Enter. Okay, so we can zoom in or we can just go right from this graph. I'm going to just keep the graph the way it is. I'm going to graph, trace, use my left arrow. Okay, there's my first 0, 2.4. Let's keep going. So we'll keep moving to the left until the other 0 pops up. There we go. So negative 0.4. And the last one here. So I'm going to press Tab, up, Control Delete. And so I'm going to type in 8x squared minus 8x plus 8. Graph that, and what do we notice? Let me just zoom in a little bit here. Again, what do we notice about this graph? It's above the x-axis. It's never going to cross, so we're just going to say this has no solution.